Welcome to Metals 100, powered by NAI 500. So we are here on location at the Vancouver Resource Investment Conference 2024. I'm very glad to have the CEO of Cassiar Gold with me, Mr. Marco Roque here. Marco, how are you doing?
Good, and you?
Good, very well. Enjoying the show, and maybe we can start off by just giving us a bit of an overview about your company.
Absolutely. So Cassiar Gold is a Canadian gold explorer. Our flagship, we control very good, very prospective district, the Cassiar Gold district. It's 100% owned, 59,000 hectares, and there we've been focused on three main areas of resource expansion. We've been expanding the Cassiar South high-grade veins along strike and down dip very successfully. And with additional continued success in that part of the project, we can see the potential for near-term development. So what we need to see there, or what we'd like to achieve eventually, is to build a resource of, say, 300 to 500,000 ounces of high-grade material. And with that, with the infrastructure that we have, with the permits, with the mill that we have, we can see a near-term development, but potentially as well fund and generate cash flow that we can use to continue to explore the bulk tonnage opportunities that we have in the project, as well as to build a bigger mill for those bulk tonnage opportunities. In terms of the bulk tonnage opportunities, we have the Taurus deposit, where we have 1.4 million ounces at 1.14 grams per ton inferred with a cutoff grade of 0.5. We've been expanding that resource laterally and at depth, as well as internal to the pit shell. We don't know how big that deposit is going to get, but in the meantime, the third area we've been looking to expand is these priority regional targets that could provide us what could be the future Taurus-like deposits that really could substantially grow our resource base. So, we've been very successful in these three areas, and it's been going quite well so far.
So let's talk about some of the recent developments here. You published some of the drilling results of Taurus. Can you share with us some of the highlights of this? Will you be able to add more resources down the road?
Absolutely. We're adding mineralization. So large majority, almost all of our drilling is with expansion in mind. So we've been expanding quite significantly. Specifically at Taurus, we have been expanding mineralization both within the pit shell. We have currently a pit-constrained resource. There's one hole specifically that really highlights that. There's a gap in drilling within the footprint of the deposit. We drilled 98 meters at 1.28 grams per ton from surface. So internal expansion within the pit shell. We've also been expanding laterally, mostly to the south of the deposits. A good example at Taurus Southwest, we hit 171 meters at 0.66 grams per ton, also from surface and outside of the pit shell to the south. And we also been expanding at depth. The system remains open laterally and at depth, so a lot of room to grow, and we've continued to expand mineralization. So we believe we're going to continue to do that in the future as well.
And last year, we've seen some of the news that you've raised quite a bit of capital during the process. So can you tell us more on that? Do you need to raise further capital this year at all?
No, we don't need to raise further capital this year. We have $5 million in the bank, so we're well cashed up. But yeah, we raised $10 million in May on a bought deal led by Corp, Red Cloud, Canaccord, also with PI there, PI Financial for a 10% stake. We did insider-led financing in December. Insiders come in as they come in every single financing. Myself, personally, I put $240,000 into that financing. So that's a testament into our belief, my belief personally, and the rest of the insiders into the project, in what we believe to be in a very undervalued situation, despite all the success we've been having the last few years. The sentiment in the space is not super positive, so that creates a bit of an indifference in terms of investors. But eventually things will have to catch up.
So you talk about being undervalued. I realized from your share price, you had a peak in March 2022, and after that there seemed to be a bit of correction until now. So maybe you can tell us more. Do you think you're really undervalued, and why do you think there's a re-rate of your share price of potential this year?
Absolutely, there is. Yes, I do think we are significantly undervalued, and that's why we also came into the financing. I put my money personally. I never sold a share. and I don't plan to anytime soon. Our goal is to sell this project to a major eventually, 100% of it. We're growing the project as we speak, and I think what's been happening in the last 2 years since we had our peak in our share price, at the highest point was $1.48. Now we're trading at 29 cents. So the share price has significantly corrected, while at the same time, since then, we've put out the resource updates. We've increased our ounces to 1.4 million ounces. We've drilled just under 40,000 meters in 117 drill holes. And out of those 117 drill holes, only 2 of them missed mineralization above the cutoff grade, which is 0.5 grams per ton. So we've been consistently expanding. And I think because of that kind of negative sentiment you've seen in the space over the past 2 years, that has generated some investor indifference into the results. The truth is we've been expanding the project significantly and expanding mineralization. And I think a lot of it has been driven because of central bank policy. It has been one of the most aggressive rate hikes in history. That has generated a lot of capital being on the sidelines. Having said that, it seems, if you look at most market analysts, they're saying that they're already discounting several rate cuts for this year. There's questions if it's going to be in March, if it's going to be in May, if it's going to be later. But I think this year is going to be a transformational year for gold. Gold price has been doing okay in most currencies, and including the US dollar. The valuations on the gold miners haven't really catch up. They've actually been going sideways and down from the majors, the big producers, to the mid-tiers, all the way to the small juniors who were the ones who have been mostly affected. So I think my personal belief is when we start to see those rate cuts by central banks, I think there's going to be a lot of capital inflowing to the sector. We saw the big bull runs in the lithium space recently, and then following that in the uranium space. I think the gold space and the precious metal space in general, we'll see that when we start to see rate cuts, and I think that's going to create huge returns to the miners themselves, from the big producers all the way to the juniors, which are the most significantly undervalued at this point.
So in conclusion, what sort of catalyst or news flow that investors should be looking out for your company, Cassiar Gold?
Absolutely. So we still have actually 6 drill holes to release, over 1,600 meters of drilling from last year's program. So that's going to be coming out in the next few weeks. We also have done in September quite an extensive field program. We've completed a 3 square kilometer soil grid survey that goes from Taurus East all the way 3 kilometers up to the Snow Creek prospect, which is a target that could be a Taurus lookalike, similar styles of mineralization. So that will give us some clues there. We also did an IP survey of roughly 10 square kilometers, covering the Taurus deposit to the north, to the south, to the east, to the west, and all the way to the east, also to up to the Snow Creek prospect. And in addition to that, we also have done a mapping exercise for a 30 square kilometer area, which is roughly 5% of our land package. So we can properly evaluate the prospectivity of that. And that's something we're also looking to replicate across the project. So a lot of news flow coming potentially. As in every year, we will open the camp in May, and we'll start drilling and exploring again in May. And that season will go up to November as usual. So, a lot to look out for at Cassiar for the next few months.
Okay, a lot to follow. So thank you, Marco, for your time and sharing your story with us here today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.